once that happened with my father, it got to a point where everything was just moving so fast, and I'm just not really processing everything how I should have, and I got to a point where, man, I was really crashing out in life.
Welcome to Vulnerability Muscle, the empowering podcast challenging norms and guiding you to find strength and power through vulnerability. I'm your host, Reggie Ford. In a world that often portrays vulnerability as a sign of weakness, I believe it is a source of tremendous strength and authenticity. Through insightful conversations and thought provoking interviews, Vulnerability Muscle aims to redefine vulnerability and help listeners develop a new perspective on their own lives. Each episode of Vulnerability Muscle delves into a variety of topics such as mental health, social issues, and mindset shifts. We explore the power of vulnerability in healing, building resilience, and promoting personal growth, as well as fostering meaningful connections. This podcast provides practical tools and strategies to navigate life's challenges, overcome adversity, and create more inclusive and just environments for all people. In this episode, we got my brother, Coleman. How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm all good, dog. Happy to be on. Appreciate you having me.
Man, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have you, not just on the podcast, but in my life. I want to start this off by saying you've been a blessing in my life in relatively short amount of time. I think we met back in like 2019, 2020, sometime around there. And to become the brother that you are to me is a testament to who you are, because I do not let people in like that. So I love you, bro.
No, I love you too, man. Hey, you know how I feel about you. Like, you that big brother that I always wish I had. Like, I got a lot of cats that's older than me that I kind of look up to you to, but not as close in age. And like to for you to be such a close age to me and like just a big role model to me, and I appreciate you.
Man, appreciate that, bro. I'm gonna kick it off right now with some rapid response. I'm gonna hop into a little bit about you, what you got going on. So, first question: what is one thing you do to relax when you're feeling stressed?
Turn on some music, or if I can't do music, I try to just take a few deep breaths and just really try to calm everything down. And that's something that, like, started therapy this past August. That's something that we just been working on, and just really trying to just be calm and just feel everything, and honestly, like, let my thoughts go free and just let whatever I'm thinking just be there and just calm down. So like for me, it's just like really just focusing on my breathing. It's a big thing for me.
Definitely, I
Besides
love that.
besides music,
Yeah. What comes to mind when you hear the word vulnerability?
man, bro. a, a few years ago, I'll be like, I don't know what that means. But
True.
now, uh, just to be open with yourself, man. To be open, to be really truly in touch with your emotions, the positive and the negative ones, and I think the more you can do that, the more you learn about yourself, but also the more you can open up to others that you really are close with and really take a deeper dive into who you really are.
That's real. I like that. Last question: what is one of your favorite childhood memories?
Favorite childhood memories. Man, me and my pops, we went to the All Star game, the 2003 MLB All Star game at the White Sox Stadium. That was that was just crazy. Like being a
Mm,
little kid, seeing all those guys that I love watching on TV, and just to see them in that stadium in the city I grew up in. It was amazing. Like, I mean, baseball was the biggest thing that me and my pop really bonded on, and like to be able to share that moment with him was special.
that is special. I got chills just listening to that. So, for people who not watching, Rose rocking a Vanderbilt University hat with a Coleman baseball sweatshirt. Can you tell us the significance of both of those institutions in your life?
Yeah, man. The hoodie I got on is like the Rocco was special, and then like that kind of started. My dad was a big baseball mentor, coach, trainer in the Chicagoland, like Midwest area, and you could say across the whole country. The one of the organizations I played with, the Wisconsin Hitters. He was a coach with them. RJ Fergus. He's like an uncle to me. I definitely say he's one of the big reasons why I ended up at Vanderbilt, because he was a white guy from Wisconsin, but he wasn't afraid to come to the city and take kids from the city and expose us to playing travel ball at a high level in front of the bigger schools. And playing with him got me seen by Vanderbilt. But like eventually, him and my dad started coaching together, and they started winning tournaments. So whenever they win tournaments, my dad, it's videos out there on YouTube and all that, and him talking about the Coleman special, baby. So like, this is just my dad with this hoodie, and then Vandy, man, changed my life, bro. Like,
Mm.
you know. When I speak of Vanderbilt, it's so special because places like Vanderbilt, you think of it as something that's so surreal. Uh, and to be where we come from, and me coming from the west side of Chicago, and just the things I went through in life, I would have never imagined me being in a place like Vanderbilt as a kid. Obviously, you think in baseball, go take me, I'm gonna get drafted right out of high school, whatever, or I'm gonna go play somewhere else. Like, I didn't even know what Vanderbilt University was until honestly I started getting recruited by them, just because
Mm-hmm.
we don't talk about prestigious academic schools like that um, in the type of environments that I grew up in. And being able to not only play for one of the best baseball programs in the country, but getting that degree from there and just the relationships I was able to build and form, it was just different, man. And I just truly appreciate it. Like Vanderbilt changed my life, and I would definitely say Vanderbilt saved my life. Like, if
Man,
I didn't
that's
end up
beautiful.
going to Vandy, I don't know if I'll be where I am right now. That's honestly truthful.
Man, that's beautiful, man. And I echo that. Like Vandy is a special place in my life and my story as well. I grew up in the city knowing about Vanderbilt, but even still, I think it was so distant in terms of the exposure that I had to it that I felt like I could go there.
Hmm.
But in the back of my mind, I knew it was like it was home for me. It was home. And I'm glad that it saved your life, brought you to Nashville, and brought you in my life, and it definitely has saved my life as well. So that's huge, man. You talked about the west side of Chicago, which I heard is the side of Chicago that ain't got no style. One of my one of the people that I've interviewed is from the south side and said west side is just weirdos. But talk about west side Chicago, what that was like growing up for you.
Yeah, so like in Chicago, like you got the South Side, you got over East Side. We call it over the East. Then you got out West, and we call it the Wild Wild West. It's the smallest one of the. It's smaller than the South Side, and I would say we have less resources. So honestly, like sometimes some parts you'll go out west, you'll be like, bro, it's like a third world country,
Mm,
and it's pockets like that out on the south side and all that as well. But like it's just different. Like it's real gritty, it's grimy, man. It's tough. Like the neighborhood I grew up in, you see the police siren that you go across a lot of inner cities in America. Like my neighborhood was one of the first places to have the police signs. I mean, the police cameras up. Like that's
mhm,
how that's how wild it is. And
mhm,
uh, and dog, like you growing up and at 4 years old, you getting a gun put to your head while you playing on a porch and things like that. You don't realize how traumatizing and how that really affects you and impacts your life at that age. And now just looking back, and I'm like, bro, all this stuff was just normalized. Like
mhm,
I remember from a stress point, I don't know how many days in a row, it was like we knew at 9 o'clock it was you can't sleep in your bed, you got to sleep on the floor.
mm,
Cause they shooting outside every single
mm,
day because it's gang wars and just things going on like that. But it's awesome, man. It made me who I am. Like it's not all bad things, because I mean we are faced with these difficult things to overcome in life, but I would say I had a very positive village around me that like my dad, my mom, and my uncles and grandparents, they really supported me and pushed me to just be the best version I can be. And not saying like, man, you grew up in the city, you go dibble and dabble in a few things here and there, but like my village around me really supported me and just tried to provide me with the best resources that they had at the moment to help me just get to the next stages in life.
Definitely, definitely, man. That's amazing, bro. I applaud your journey and the way that your perspective on looking back at life, because I think it's easy to look at all the things that we've gone through and say, man, all these negative things they hurt me in these many ways, but to have gratitude for those experiences as well to shape you to be the person that you are is a sign of wisdom for sure, because I feel like you've learned from each and every one of those moments. Like, tell me, 4 years old, gun to your head, what is the situation like leading up to something like that? Or how do you before or after deal with that? Like, is there conflict before? Is there resolution after? Is there conversation after? What was, if you can remember?
Man, I remember spurts of it. Like I just know, like I'm on a porch, me and my grandma net, and I'm just playing, and you see two guys walk up with guns, like they getting in the house. And my mom and my uncle in the crib, and they come in the crib, they start ripping the phone cords out and all that. They and just, bro, honestly, it's like when you get punched in the head and like your ears just they flaring up and stuff like that. So it's like you don't really hear what's going on, and it's like, man, this is so scary. But then at the same time, afterwards, you like, I feel like for me, I knew at a very early age what life was, and
Mm,
I would probably would say that really shaped me into be like, all right. And I don't like to speak like this, but it's the truth. I'm like, man, you either gonna be a wolf out here, you gonna be a sheep. And and that's what from that day on, that's where that hardness came of like, man, look, ain't nothing gonna ever break me.
mhm,
Um and obviously because of what the situation like my family and stuff had at the time, like I started to understand what was really going on. Like
mhm.
you in the streets and things like that. So it wasn't really no, like my mom and grandma like trying to see if I'm okay, but it's like that's normal life. Like
Right. Right.
I could just remember another time like me and my mom literally pulled up to the crib. I'm 6 years old and we literally looking in our house, seeing our house get robbed.
Mm.
And we just waiting for them to leave so we could just go in the house and go to sleep.
That's unsettling. Oh man.
But like I'm just like, you
That's
get to
life.
that point, you're just like, man, it's life.
Mm.
Uh and it's so traumatizing. Like you don't realize it at the time, but it's so traumatizing because you you look back and you like, dang, dog, and I understand why in our neighborhoods and our communities why people do the things they do because of just everything we face with on a daily basis,
Mhm.
and we
Speak on
don't
that. What do you
have
mean?
just like talking about like you just getting robbed and guns and just not the lack of positive resources, and everything you just see is negative, negative, negative. And if you don't have those right people in your life to just push you away from that, even if they are doing negative things, it's still hard. Like I think
Mhm.
personally, you have to, and everybody doesn't have this. You have to have that own switch within yourself to be like, man, I don't want that.
Mm.
Uh,
Mhm.
and it's not easy at all. Like it's not easy because going left is right outside your door every single day.
Yeah.
Uh, and
So
even going right,
what kept you on the steady?
man, baseball.
Yeah. How does so when I think of Chicago and I think of baseball, the first thing that comes to my mind is Hardball, like the movie Hardball with Keanu Reeves. So you was one of the little kids getting in the back of the car, piled up in Keanu Reeves' car. That's
Hey,
you, huh?
bro, I said so. The thing was so crazy. What you think of Chicago, you think of basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan, then you think of Chicago hoops, Isaiah Thomas, all those guys that just from the city of Chicago. There's NBA Hall of Famers also are Derrick Rose, Dwight Parker, guys like that. But we have a rich history in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, my uncles, they played pro ball professionally. My godbrother played in the big leagues, and everybody that I grew up playing with, all of our dads played either collegiately or professionally. So
Wow.
that was a big thing for us because they really pushed that to give us more opportunity that they didn't have. And we grew such a close bond because we wanted to be really good. And with us being all black, we knew at one point they started a travel team with us, and we were the only black team travel team in the state of Illinois. And then you go across the country, it was another team called the Atlanta Monarchs that I played with a few times. There was only two black teams at our age group at 10 years old through 12 years old in the country
Wow.
playing
Wow.
travel baseball. And that's kind of where that I would say our wave revived. And there was some guys before us like really took it to the next level of black baseball players playing ball at a high level in Chicago again. Um, and I think that was the biggest push of because man, a lot of my guys, we always going through the same similar stuff in our households, in our neighborhoods. But that one thing being on that field was the one place where we felt like, man, all of our problems could go away, and we just held each other responsible for everything. Like, no, we about to wake up early, we about to get it in. If we want to go out, all right, we go still get it in, and then we go out. So I mean, I don't know. Real talk, like if I didn't have baseball. I don't know. Like I play other sports. I box, I play football, I play basketball and things like that. But like baseball it was special to us as well because of yeah, it was a decent amount of us playing the game, but that wasn't normal for black inner city kids to
Mm-hmm.
be playing
Right.
baseball and we wanted to do that. And
Right.
we were able to, I would say, open up that new wave of black ball players coming out of Chicago, getting drafted in the top 3 round, going to play at these Power Five conferences and things like that. So it was special and it was unique at the time, not realizing it was saving our lives.
Mm,
Like,
mm. So
like I,
you're on a team of all black players, and you ended up at Vanderbilt. But I'm just assuming not everybody ended up playing college ball. Not everyone ended up making it the way that you did. Is there anybody that deviated from that path that didn't take the same path that you took?
yeah. So I wasn't on the all black team all the time. Like, so when I played with the hitters, it was more mixed.
Mm-hmm.
This guy from Wisconsin, someone from Chicago, but for the most part, my high school was all black and all that. But one of was crazy, bro. On my high school team, and I get the number wrong all the time. I got drafted out of high school, and he got drafted again. Corey Ray went in the first round, played in the big leagues. Darius Day got drafted out of high school, coaching in professionally now. Blake Hickman got drafted out of high school and out of college, coaching professionally now.
It's the
Marshawn
same
Taylor,
team.
same high school team. Marshawn Taylor got drafted out of high school and then got drafted out of college. That's five. Yeah, Terrence got drafted out of high school. Had another cat, Tyler get drafted out of high school. And then I think that was it. Seven of us got drafted out of high school. And from freshman through seniors, we probably had 12 to 13 guys go play ball at the collegiate level. All black
Wow.
school, inner city school. And
Wow.
And our coach at the time, Coach Leroy Franklin, he's the first black coach to get inducted into the Illinois Baseball Hall of Fame. Like
That's
he
what's up.
had two big leaguers on his belt. um, three first rounders, I believe, and over 30 some draft picks. But it's just think of
Legend.
man, and still you want to know to this day, we have the most our high school has the most high school draft picks out of any school in Illinois.
That's ridiculous. Wow. That's amazing.
With the lack of resources, no small weight room, not all the weights, one cage in the auxiliary gym is just like, and this one I tell kids today, like when you want something, you go get it.
Yeah.
Like we was
Because you didn't
able
have
to,
any excuses. Like your team didn't have excuses, but y'all produced the way that y'all did.
yeah. But back to your point, yeah, man. It was a few guys who went the wrong way, um, and unfortunately, some of them are not doing as well in life. And I would say it was a blessing. It wasn't a lot of us that did go the wrong way because we were so close and we grew up together. Honestly, like we were playing ball together since we were 7, 8 years old. So
Mm,
the relationship and the bond was so strong. Like, nah, man, we go do this thing. We go do
that's
this thing.
beautiful.
So I would say probably give you a percentage. Probably 80% of us end up going to play ball at the next level and still doing well, whether we're working in baseball still or just working to have a regular career. So
Yeah.
it's been a blessing.
What was that transition like from high school to Vanderbilt of all places? Not being a predominantly black school, not being in the west side of Chicago. What was that transition like?
Bro, my first semester. So I came to summer school. I got to summer school early because like I'm coming from Chicago public school, so they wanted me to get ahead. I got two B's in summer school. I'm like, oh, prestigious academic. I'm like, this ain't hard, bro. Hard. Man, I got in that first semester. I was like, dog.
Wake up call.
I flunked out first semester. I had to write a letter to the deans and all that to get back enrolled. And it was just, man, that was a real turning point for me though, for real, because it was like, man, you are blessed with this opportunity. You need to really take advantage of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but like you have the resources and the people around you that want to see you succeed, and you are here for a reason. And that just changed my mindset of like, man, it's time to get it together. But the biggest thing for me, it was the academics, bro. Being in a new environment, it was different, but I'm very introverted, so like that wasn't a big thing for me, as far as just being in the environment. Like I know how to interact with people when I need to. I just
When you want
sometimes
to.
when I want to. Sometimes I don't trust a lot of people, so that's why I'm just very to myself. But it wasn't a culture shock from that because I played baseball. Like it
Yeah.
was we I was a minority on the field majority of the times when we playing against someone else, so that wasn't a big thing far as that, but the academics was just a big transition.
Mm.
And man, you seeing kids driving BMWs, Maseratis, and things like that. You like, oh, it's like
Different.
the stuff you see in movies, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this not real. Like 18 years old driving, I'm like, that's a 6-figure car, bro. What is going on?
Yeah.
That was where for me too, it was like, oh, bro, this is life changing for you. Like if you really have to lock in. But
Mhm.
it was just making that adjustment from an academic perspective was just different for me. It was very difficult for me. I didn't even know how to write a paper. I
Yeah.
wrote one paper my whole academic career before I got to Vanderbilt. It was just like, what the hell is this? But
Man.
it just goes back to shit. So even my high school at the time was one of the better academic schools in Chicago. But
Mhm.
it just shows you the levels of when it comes to academics, how it's just a big gap, bro.
True.
It's a big
True.
gap, and you wonder why people continue to fall in the same patterns.
True. Is there any advice that you would give to the schools in helping somebody transition the way that you did, other than summer school? Because that's not a real reflection of what it's going to be like when you're in that first semester. What other resources or advice would you give to schools about helping students like you?
Um, I think for me, it's really like we had an academic counselor, and I'm say Nate Bill was his name. Like he's the main reason I graduated. Like even though me and him bumped heads, like he stayed on me. But I think I would have really liked at the time to really like have a big sit down with somebody people can really grasp and understand where I was academically before everything just yeah, like I said, I went to summer school. I don't think it's cool, but
Hmm.
really like letting me know like, hey, no, this is what's coming. This is how you need to be prepared. And I wouldn't say it's at anyone's fault, but I just felt like that would have been a big help for me to really understand how I need to go about my academics from that for that first fall semester.
Okay. And then for a student athlete coming in, because you do a lot of scouting, you do recruiting right now. What are you telling that young person who's coming in order to prepare them for this situation?
Man, really, the biggest thing I say is to when I do have the chance to talk to high school kids is the same way you go hard on the field, it's the same way you need to go hard in the classroom, the same way you need to go hard with your relationships with your parents, your friends, and life. Because if you are going 100% in all aspects of life, you're going to be successful. And for
Mm.
me, I would say I wasn't doing that at the time. Like, I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, baseball gonna be cool. And I'm feeling because I don't have the same knowledge as these other students that okay, I can just not give it my all,
Hmm.
and I would be fine, and that just didn't work. And I think that's the biggest thing is just man making sure you everything you do in life go 100% at it because if you're doing all of those things, everything's gonna fall in order how it's supposed to. But if you're not, you may not be you may be treating your friend wrong, and then you wondering why you going over for you like, man, I'm putting in the work, but I'm not treating these people right, or you're not doing it. You're working in the classroom, and you may be you hitting line drive right there. Everybody like, man, why I ain't getting up because I'm not doing this right. So it's just
Mm.
make sure you get everything you do in life, do it at 100%. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I tell the kids is, nah, dog, it ain't no one thing I don't like when people say is academic first, then athletics. I'm like, no, because now it's a different scale. And people are
Hmm.
looking at this like, no, everything should be at the same level. Everything you do is at a high level. Academics,
I like it.
athletics, family, like everything needs to be at a high level, at the same level, because now you're gonna go hard at it
All
all
of
at the
it.
same pace. Yeah.
I like that. I like that approach. I think that's a good approach. One thing that I heard recently was in the context of mental health and taking care of yourself is that if all you have to give is 20% and you gave 20%, then you gave 100%. Right.
Mhm.
And so, like, for a student athlete, you coming in and you stressed about all these different things, but you got something in your tank and you give everything that's in your tank, that's you giving 100. It may not look like what it looks like when you have 100% in your tank to give, but, communicate that. Talk to people who can help you, who are willing to help you and want to help you so that you can get the resources that you need to get that back up to 100%. But give it your all and know when it's time to take care of yourself. And speaking about taking care of yourself, you mentioned you started therapy in August. Tell us a little bit about that.
Bro, the best thing ever. Like you've been
Mm.
pushing me even before my pops got killed, like you've been pushing me to do it even before, and like once that happened happened with my father, it got to a point where everything was just moving so fast, and I'm just not really processing everything how I should have, and I got to a point where man, I was really crashing out in life, and everything. and it, like I said, everything just really sped up on me. Like I got into a car accident, basically. And it was that time. It was that time, and man, that first session was it was a lot. It was a lot, but it opened me up so much and allowed me to be vulnerable,
Mm.
which I have never been at that point. To really just dive deep into to rip the layers back on a lot of shit that you're afraid to talk about or even memories to bring up or realizing this is why do I act this way? Oh, because this happened. Or you
Mhm.
saw this and man, I love every talking to my therapist every time we have a session. Like I just feel so free.
Good.
I feel so free and I'll be so happy. I'm like, man, I can't wait to go talk to her and just tell her what I'm doing and all this, how I'm feeling. It's just, man, it's so fulfilling, dog.
Man.
And I recommend it for everyone, even if you don't have anything negatively impacting you in your life right now. I just think to be able to just talk to someone else that's and everybody we have people that we're close with and all that, but just somebody that's no judgment free zone.
Mhm.
I think that's the biggest thing, and just being completely open and them actually giving you actual the real educated advice on how to go about your daily life with things. It's amazing, man. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Oh man, I love to hear that because, I mean, you brought up your dad passing. And I think in our friendship, I think that was one of the things that solidified us growing closer. Was one the relationship that you had with your dad enough to introduce me to your dad. And I remember the first time we hopped on a call. We was on a call for about 2 hours,
Yeah,
and it was just like I'm taking wisdom in from the OG, but he's also, trying to understand who I am because I'm becoming an influence in your life. And then I think you called me after that or texted me after that and was like, Pops like you or something like that. And I was like, man, that's what's up. Like it felt like family. It felt
yeah,
like family. And when you texted me and told me that he had passed away, it broke my heart for him, for your family, and for you, bro. Um can you tell me, if you're comfortable with, tell me about that situation and how you have been able to deal with that?
yeah, man. It was I don't know the time. It was around 9, 10 o'clock, whatever. And my uncle had called me, and my uncle don't never call me. I was like, damn, bro. Like, as soon as I saw the name pop up on my phone, I was like, fuck. Like, praying it ain't what it is. And he like, man, your daddy just got shot. And I'm like, nah, nah. And he was at the hospital just trying to figure out the whole situation. And then, like, called my auntie and just asked her, like, what's going on? And she, like, he gone. And and truthfully, like, my girlfriend, Amber, like, I'm I'm just so glad I have her in my life. Like, if I have her, you talk about crashing out, like at that time, yeah, like crashing out for real, with with no thought about it or anything like that, and just to have her there to support me in that time and just listen to me, it it was special. But I flew back to the crib the next day, and it was but everything moved so fast. Like I felt like I didn't really get to lay my dad to rest the way I wanted to because of the situation of how it happened and who he was. Uh, we had to have a private funeral. Like police had to be there. Family situation wasn't how it should have been. Like true colors really came out, which I already knew. But it's just like, man, like making it about yourself. Um,
Mm,
and
mm,
like my dad's my best friend, dog. Like growing up, I would say we didn't have the best relationship when it came to communication. Because I felt like it was always him just pouring into me like, man, no, you got to do this because you don't do this, you're not gonna make it to this place.
Mm,
And as a kid, you don't understand that.
right.
And obviously, it's all where you could say you could do it a better way. It's always a better way to do things.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand that until I really retired from sports. Like it was time in college where me and my dad want to talk because we just keep bumping heads.
Mm,
Um, and eventually, once I retired, like man, we our relationship really grew. Like we just talked to each other and talked every single day, and was just like, man, it was so special to me because I felt like, man, this is. I always looked at him as my best friend, even as a kid, even when I was scared to talk to him, whatever. But like, man, I want to be just like this dude, dog. Uh, but man, he did everything he could do to put me in the best situation to just be successful in life. And I just truly appreciate him for doing that. Like him and my mom, but like if it's not for my dad, like I would definitely wouldn't be where I am today.
mm,
And definitely like my mom during that time, even though they were technically never together, uh, she was a soldier during that time when he got killed. It was just like for her to be there with me, like because it's a scary situation.
yeah.
Like it's a scary situation, and just being there right next to me and protecting me and knowing like, nah, this is how everything is gonna go. It's like it's special. Like special to have parents in your life that really care about you and want to just see you be the best version that you can be.
Hmm.
And also just seeing your parents grow into better versions of themselves also. Like my dad went to prison when I was 13. He got out when I was 16. And just to see him not get broken. Like, and then I know he was going to prison. Like, everybody gets broke going to prison. Like, man, that's a difficult time. But like to
Yeah.
see him come back out and like, no, I'm still up. I'm on the up and up. I'm gonna still be positive. I'm not finna let this situation uh just derail me and just see his growth on a daily basis and the people he impacted. Man, is that's
That's
why
huge.
I do what I do every day. It's because of just seeing that from him.
Yeah. He, I remember when searching his name after he passed, and I found this public Facebook post, and it was hundreds and hundreds of comments from people from, I guess, his entire lifetime who had been just like, oh my God, this is one of the greatest men I ever knew. I love this man. This man he'll give you the shirt off his back. Like such a genuine spirit that I see in you. I see all the goodness that he embodied coming out through you. And I'm grateful that you carry that spirit and that legacy on. I am terribly, terribly sorry that you lost a man that is so near and dear to you. And I know that you will continue to push and carry on that legacy. And I'm glad you leaning into the support and Amber. Shout out to Amber. Love you for being there for my bro. Thank you. Uh, and and all the other people that have poured into your life. I truly love anytime you lean in and open up more to me. That I want to be there for you always, and so I hope you know that and continue to lean into that, bro.
Nah, bro, not and I ain't meant to you, dog. Like, bro, I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, bro.
I appreciate you so much, man. Like, just being there for me every day, dog. From day one that we met, it was like he's one of the realest dudes I met besides my dad, bro. and just to really just have that positive big brother role model to look up to and lean on. It's like I love you, dog, and
I love you too,
I
bro.
appreciate you, bro.
I love you too, man. For real. Like to the end of time, bro. You got me, man. I I love you, bro. For real.
Nah, bro, and these are the conversations we need to be having in our communities, dog. Like I think I sent you a post. It was like a couple weeks ago. It was like one of the few times in the last 5 years Chicago has only had been 5 times where it wasn't a shooting.
Mm-hmm.
5 years, bro. Like what?
It's wild. It's wild.
Like you that makes no sense, bro.
And tell me what you said about Illinois not even having which is
You
no
know we
gun
got
shop.
guns. There's no gun shops. So
That blew
like
my mind when you told me that.
it's no gun shops, but we are top in shootings every year, top in homicides every year. That makes no sense.
Mm,
And obviously we can really dive deep. We know why that is, but it's just we are not our communities aren't provided with positive resources that we need to be successful.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
system has shown that it doesn't want us to be successful, but that's why for me that motivates me even more to show people, not just kids, people like we can come from these situations and make something out of it.
Mm-hmm. You've helped a lot of people. You've exposed a lot of young people to opportunities that they can do from, Nashville Stars Youth Foundation, Empowerment Pursuit. And now you are on staff with Vanderbilt University. Can you talk about just the opportunity that you have currently with the team and then what you hope to do with that opportunity?
Yeah, man, it's the my position is the Maggie Corey Minority Apprenticeship. This was started. This is the third year of the position. My best friend Jabari Brown was there for the first 2 years, and now he's the third assistant coach at Mizzou. Black guy. You talk about going back to baseball and the lack of African Americans in the game. I think baseball was at 7%, 6% or something like that in Major League roster last year. In college, it's even less. Even less. And then we're not talking about that's players. We talk about coaches.
Yeah,
Come on,
even
dog.
smaller.
It's not even at 1%. Um, and for me, I'm so grateful for one Vanderbilt University. Rest in peace, David Williams, Candace, what she's doing there. But Tim and Maggie Corbin are two of the greatest human beings that was ever put on this earth.
Mm,
Like their investment into making people into the best version of themselves on a daily basis is special. You don't see that a lot, and just being real, man, you don't see that a lot with white people. Uh, I'm just being real from that perspective. That from my experience.
yeah.
That's from my experience. And I truly appreciate them just to open up their eyes to the world and
Mm,
really like you look at our rosters year in year out is we have the most diverse rosters for the most part every single year. We got kids from all over the country, from the East Coast to West Coast, Midwest, deep South, down South, all those things. So it's just like that's very intentional, and he's very intentional. Him and Maggie, they're very intentional about that because they want people to see what life is.
mm-hmm,
Um, and for them to start this position, like they didn't have to do this, but they want to see change. Like Corbs is not just a guy that talks about it like he puts it into action.
Mm-hmm.
And for me being in this position, I'm so appreciative, but also like dog, you hear a lot of talk when you get into a position like this and you talk about corporate America or just moving up in your career and things like that. People talk about code switching, and I've never will code switch in my life, never ever. Obviously, I know how to be professional, like professional, but I'm never gonna code switch because for me, I feel like I'm doing a disservice for the cats that's coming up that want to be in positions like mine and keep growing, and people that are older than me that are looking to be in position like, no, you can be who you are
Yes.
and still make a positive impact. And especially with this game of baseball, we want more blacks, African Americans in the game. We have to see more of us representing that, being represented and being real, like from where we come from. And I weigh that so strongly with me every single day. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna change who I am
Mm-hmm.
because who I am is the reason why I'm here. It got me
Exactly.
to this place, and this is why I'm so passionate. This is my drive because of how I grew up, how hard I had to work, the daily grind of just walking out, not living in a real war zone, dog.
Mm.
Like you thinking about like you living in a real war zone. Like baseball is easy.
Yeah.
That the daily life I grew up is that's real pressure. So
Right.
this is nothing right here. So it's like, man, for me to get in a situation and change up who I am, nah, can't
Nah.
do that.
That's a
Can't do
disservice.
that.
That's diminishing all that made you who you are. And so no, I love that. Like that's a message to everybody is to show up as you, authentically you, no matter what environment you're in, like be you. And the world is going to love and respect that because there's only one you. And
Yeah,
if we had a whole bunch of replicas of one person all over, like there's no service, there's no value that brings. But you bringing your unique talents, your unique skills, your unique background, that makes the world the best place that it can be. And it
yeah.
gives us the thought leaderships, it gives us the unique perspectives, and it gives us just great opportunities like this, bro. Bro, you are a fantastic human just from top to bottom. I have so much respect for you, man. Like so much, and you have no idea. We could talk for hours and hours about other things that you've done in helping the youth and being just a big voice for baseball and getting, African American representation, black representation, because that's something that I didn't really truly understand is that the black people that I see on baseball in MLB, they're probably from the Dominican more than likely. They're not, or from other Latin American countries, and not necessarily black Americans. And so you making the push for that is so huge, and you are just a great representation of Vanderbilt, a great representation of the Coleman last name, bro. Like for real.
Nah, bro, I appreciate it. No, we would be on this boy for like 5, 6 hours.
We
Just
wouldn't
talk.
stop. We wouldn't stop. Like I'm just like, man. But I do want to ask a couple more questions before we head out. With everything that you have going on right now in your life, you can look at it from personal, professional, whatever. What do you need help with right now?
Hmm. I would say for me, it's just to consistently wake up with that daily balance.
Hmm.
Because you always striving for more, and with striving for more, the success and things you want don't just come right away. And like along with um being on staff at Vanderbilt, I have a podcast as well with a couple of my guys called the 2%. And like we talk about, man, we want to get here, we want to get that. And even at coaching at Vanderbilt, like I feel like I can be in higher positions, not necessarily at Vanderbilt, but just in different places or things like that. And you want those things, but it's like it takes time. And with having that balance, it's not, making sure I'm staying in my routine,
Mm.
not letting up and be like, no, I could do this another time. I'll be fine. And I think that's the one thing that I consistently try to push on myself daily is like, man, just be balanced and have patience. I think
Mm.
those are the two more difficult things. I wouldn't say I necessarily it's a struggle, but it's just always something that I'm constantly telling myself. It's just a daily reminder of even because we all have doubts that creep in the mind, or you not just with the doubt, you just want something right away, and you think you deserve something right away, and that's just not how life works. But if you
Mhm.
keep those consistent daily habits, you will eventually get those things. And sometimes they might not come in the way you thought you were gonna get it.
True. True.
Yeah, like I didn't expect to be on Vanderbilt's staff this year.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I was working with MLB last year, so it's just
Yeah.
different.
It's the consistency, man. That's something that I feel like you just in your life have embodied, but also in the program with Corbin and doing all the little things right and being consistent on those little things to see what the outcome will be. Not expecting the outcome, not even striving just for that, but doing the little things that will result in that outcome.
Mhm.
And I think if I will be there to remind you of those little things because we know where the outcome for Ro Coleman can potentially be, and you just keep doing what you're doing, and it's gonna be there. So I got you, bro. Last question: what are you living for?
First, I'm living for myself. Um, it's something that my therapist constantly reminds me of. Make sure you taking care of yourself first,
Yes.
always. Um, that's the first thing. Definitely just living for daily happiness within myself and just daily growth mentally. Um, and also others, man. Like my girlfriend, my mom, my brother, my family that I'm close with. Um, and to inspire others. That's my biggest thing. I feel the greatest joy when I'm able to see others succeed and help them get to where they want to go. Like that truly like lights a fire in me. And that's why I would say I love being on the staff with college kids because
Mhm.
you seeing them grow from 18-year-olds to 22-year-olds, and it's just like, man, you love seeing the growth on a daily basis. And you love seeing the innocent that they
Mhm.
still have, and it's so inspiring. Even we had the youth foundation, just being with those little kids, like bro, like
Yeah.
I love it, man, and I just love helping others. Like that's my true passion. Like, and I saw it from my dad, and then my mom was also a teacher. She recently just retired, and just seeing how they poured into others, and even I mean, you look at Coach Corbs, like he pours into each people, not just the players, the entire staff, the entire university, not even just the entire university. Like he ain't gonna say it, but man, dude is one of the greatest coaches ever. Like
Yeah. For sure.
top top three. Like I'm gonna say
Yeah.
top three, but yeah, but it's just to see what he does, and if he's making the time to do those things, why shouldn't I be making the time to do those
That's
things
powerful.
either? And it's just so inspiring to see a guy like that do that, and but also that's who I am. Like I love giving back.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
yeah,
that's beautiful, bro. How can people reach you? How can they get in touch and keep up with everything you got going?
bro. I think all my socials, well, IG and Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, is Coach Row One Coleman. Then Facebook is Row Coleman. Follow the 2% podcast, the 2% pod on all platforms. We actually will be releasing a new episode this upcoming Sunday. Got a real special guest. But nah, yeah, do all those things, man. And appreciate you having me on, dog. Digging your
Yes.
pod, bro. It's real.
I
It's real,
appreciate that,
man.
man.
Like I said, we need more of these conversations, and honestly, we gotta keep inspiring our youth and talking to our
Absolutely.
youth. And man, we don't, man, these kids, we don't realize how much when we you just talk to a kid and they really it really impacts them, and they go back like, man, that was that positive reinforcement that I needed today to 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 push me to keep me going forward.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yes, y'all please check out the 2% podcast. It's a phenomenal podcast. I will say so myself. Ro, with all the things that you could be doing and all the places you could be, I appreciate you being here with me, embracing vulnerability, bro.
Nah, bro, I appreciate it, dog. Hey, man, your camera real nice over there, bro. Hey, bro.
Thank you for joining us for another powerful episode of Vulnerability Muscle. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that resonate with you. If you're enjoying this journey of self discovery and empowerment, there are a few ways you can support the podcast. First, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. If you've been moved by our conversations and the mission of redefining vulnerability, please consider leaving a review. Your feedback not only motivates us, but also helps others discover the podcast. Share your thoughts on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. And don't forget to spread the word. Follow us on Instagram at Vulnerability Muscle for updates, and you can connect with me personally at Reggie D. Ford on all platforms. Visit vulnerabilitymuscle.com for additional resources and upcoming episodes. And remember, embracing vulnerability is strength. Thanks for being a part of the journey. Until next time, stay empowered, stay vulnerable, and keep flexing that vulnerability muscle.